Hello and good evening. Obviously the weather has been extremely hot in England, so it's been unbearable. So I decided to do a bit of reading in the garden on Christian history, going back to the first century and the development of Christianity and its real definition, and obviously what Christians were called before they were called Christians, and even before they were called followers of the way. So I've been doing in-depth research, but one thing I did discover is the passion and the honesty of the early church. You would not read anywhere where the disciples went around abusing children, murdering, or even indulging in corruption. That would be unheard of back in Christian history. It would be blasphemous, and St. Paul certainly would have been turning to the pen. He was an ardent, Christian who expressed his anger through writing and attacking the pagan world. And I use that term deliberately, pagan world. Full of fornication, sexual corruption, blasphemy. And Paul would have said to the believers in those days, do not participate in the covenant of wickedness, deceit, and evil. Fast forward in 2022, all you have to do is look up pastors' corruption, greed, or recent church scandal. And this could be whether Seventh Day-Adventist, there's a recent one that I've been looking at. I think I've saved it somewhere. US Southern Baptist Church facing an apocalypse over sexual abuse. So it's not just a Catholic church. Everyone, when they talk about child abuse, etc., within a religious setting, they all point towards Catholicism. It's a problem even in Seventh Day-Adventist, Pentecostal, and Baptist church. Now, it cannot be coincidental that overnight there seemed to be even Hillsong, I think his name was Lentz, was also accused regarding this sexual harassment. Is there something wrong with God? The people that seem to claim they represent him are the paedophiles, abusers, adulterers, fornicators. No. What it tells you, the church, and I use that term in a very careful way because what they have is an organization. It's not a church. If it was a church, where is the gift of discernment? And I'll tell you why. A pastor who killed his wife, put her in the fridge, went off to church speaking in tongues. Was that from God? Why didn't the church congregation knew that there's something wrong with these pastors? If they got gift of discernment, why is it that these pastors are getting away literally with murder, abusing kids, and not one person stands up? You know, you get these Pharisees who think they're better than, Jesus himself. Oh, I've eaten hay today and I'm on a spiritual diet. I'm perfect. Yet these perfect Pharisees could not even have the spirit of discernment to see that these pastors are crooks. Their deacons are deceptive. Something is seriously wrong. And when you can see evidence of church corruption, greed, tithing, blasphemy, heresy, and you still support these con men or con women, something is seriously wrong. And I tell you something, it gets you quite annoyed because you wonder. I'm just looking at something, but it's not within my reach. I was gonna, get my Bible. Okay? You think to yourself, what is wrong with these people that they can't even open their own Bibles? Are they so lazy? Open your own Bible and you will know whether your pastor is a crook. And I tell you something. Oh, here it is. Here's my Bible. Okay? All you have to do, whether King James or whether the English Standard Version, all you have to do is read Hebrews, St. John, and you will know just by reading Hebrews alone and St. John's and Romans. That's all you have to do. And I don't mean take a text out of here and a text out of there. Read it from chapter 1 all the way through in its context, and you will begin to see that the church is lying to you. They're lying about tithings, about this priesthood that you go through them and you're only saved to the church. This is how they corrupt. This is how they abuse you, because you believe that all authority is in their uniform. They have all authority, and this is how child abuse gets taken place. Why? Because they have the power and authority, and they tell you keep your mouth shut because you can't be saved but through me. This is why the Catholic Church is so corrupt, because the Catholics believe that you can't be saved outside the Pope. So they pull their money, they call it indulgences. Look, this book, I Left Christianity and Found Christ, it goes into it. I'm going to read a chapter one day. I'm going to read a chapter live, and it goes into it. I Left Christianity and Found Christ is a very powerful title. Why did I leave Christianity? Because of corruption. All you have to do, look at Google. That's all you have to do, and look up recent church scandal. Whether Pentecostal, whether Seventh Day-Adventist, these people, they claim that you have to go through them, through the conference. The higher they are, the more corrupt they become. The higher they are, the more corrupt they become. They're not closer to Jesus, yet they're at the top of the pinnacle. leaving you in fear, keeping you in fear, telling you that you cannot be saved. But through their organization, the same organization, just like JWs, they're corrupt, full of child abuse. Yet, for some unknown reason, let me give an example. One pastor who was known for fornication, and I think he actually did murder. And the worst thing about it, he didn't reform. He didn't reform. You know, we all fall short. None of us is perfect. He didn't commit a crime and then change his ways and find God. He was continually living a contrary life, having affairs, fornication. But the church said he's preaching the word. It doesn't matter what he does, he's preaching the word. Try telling that to St. Paul. Try telling that to the early disciples. They never had any corruption until the church became an organized entity and a business. That is when the church became corrupt. It became the cesspool. The bourgeois, the Catholic bourgeois, they were known for it. Incest and raping. This was a Catholic church. The bishops and the deacons raping women. And yet people believed that, look, it goes into it. You see how thick this book is. I left Christianity and find Christ. It goes into it. The bourgeois, how corrupt Christianity has become. Well, because people won't read their Bibles for themselves, or, I'm sorry to say, there's something perverted about those who support these kind of religious men and women. There must be something perverted. You look in Africa, where you got pastors telling women, come to church and take your panties off, and sexually abusing them, and still they support them. Something is seriously wrong. You cannot be so dumb and so stupid. Are you supposed to be enlightened and wise in Christ Jesus? So you have to ask, what kind of spirit are you in touch with? Who are you in touch with that your pastor can have a dead body in the fridge and you go off into tongues with him or her and not know about it? Something is seriously wrong. Where is the spirit of discernment? Your pastor's corrupt into fornication. The church is a cesspool of corruption, child abuse scandal, and you wonder why people don't want nothing to do with the church. I came to that crisis in my own life, and that's why I ended up writing this book. I left Christianity and found Christ because Christianity has become corrupt. It's become corrupt, a cesspool. And the worst thing about it, the believers are not exposing it. Something is wrong. That you claim to have the spirit of discernment, yet your pastors, your deacons are murdering, killing, child abusing, and no one knows until the child exposes them, and then the police get involved. Something is wrong, and I'm going to continue making videos like this because it gets me angry. It really does. I've not been covering things from a political affairs, you know, but this, you cannot be human and not be angry by what the church has become. It's nothing more than big business. It's a fake, and people, they don't care. They don't care. And it makes you wonder, are they really Christians? Are they really Christians?